Hi, Facebook land. The topics that we cover here are aimed to give everybody more information about their well being, their wellness for mind, body, soul. Trying to release some of the pressure that one may feel through trying to figure out their way through this maze of wellness and trying to make it easy, for everybody to be involved in their own decision making and trying to make our community a healthier, better community. There we go. I think we just have him on right now, Dr. Joe Borio joining us. I couldn't be happier to have him on. I can see him basically being added onto our conversation. Hopefully, there we go. Good day, sir.
Wow, can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. How are you?
Okay. I'm doing fantastic.
Thank you for taking some time off for us, and thank you for this last-ditch effort of running around trying to figure out your device.
We got it, brother. We're good.
Thank you so very much. Please give us an introduction. Let us know who you are, where you are, what you do, and we will dive into it.
Sure. My name's Dr. Joe Borio. I'm a chiropractor. I'm in central New York, little town called Cicero, just out of Syracuse. Been in practice 29 years. Excited to be on the call. Anytime we get an opportunity to talk about chiropractic and improving people's lives and making a difference in the quality of how people live, not only the number of years, but life within those years. It's always an honor and a great opportunity. So thank you for asking me to be on today.
I'm honored for you to be on our interview for sure. Chiropractic motto, adding years to your life and life to your years. That's what chiropractors do.
Yes, for sure.
So, Dr. Joe, if I might call you Dr. Joe.
Yeah, Joe, whatever you want to call me.
Can we dive in? Let us know, what is it that chiropractic does that increases the vitality and wellness on populations?
Yeah, it's a great question. So when I think a lot of times, being a chiropractor for so many years, people associate chiropractic to neck or back or headaches or what have you, and certainly it's great for that. But a lot of times you'll hear people say, like, how does cracking your back help, like, your breathing, or how would it help you live longer, or how would it help your organs and your body? And the challenge with that is, even though we all know how the body works, we kind of separate the spine, if you will, from what's in the spine. We forget sometimes, even though we know, the spine is a conduit for the brain to communicate to the body. Mm-hmm. So it houses this beautiful, critical, delicate series of nerves that allow your brain to tell every aspect of your body what to do. So knowing that, if we step back and look at the neurology just for a moment, we realize, well, the brain tells the body what to do. The only way it can talk is through nerves. So if all the nerves go through the spine, that would mean then that, in science obviously has shown this, that the spinal health directly affects the neurologic health, if you will, the spinal cord health. And if that's true, then that then leads you to the deduction that, well, if the spine gets sick, by that meaning unhealthy, by that meaning maybe deteriorates, gets crooked, busted up, out of alignment, traumatized, sprain, strain, all those things, it would then affect the integrity of the nerves. And then, unfortunately, it'll affect the health, integrity, vitality of the body. And that's what we know. So the sicker the spine gets, the sicker you get, or vice versa. The healthier the spine gets, the healthier you work, the healthier your body works. So,
Dr. Joe, you hear a lot about degeneration and the process of aging and all those things. And it's well shown that once you are stressed and the body is stressed and it goes on a fight or flight response, the first thing that it doesn't do is regenerate.
Yes.
An opposite of regeneration is degeneration.
Yes, exactly.
Can you please speak some about those two?
Sure. Well, Bruce Lipton, a guy much better known than I am, he said that hey, a cell cannot be in a state of defense and, if you will, offense or growth at the same time. So that's essentially what you're saying. So when you look at your body takes an enormous amount of energy, as you call it, to fight or flight. So to put it in our day to day, driving in traffic, right? That's crazy. Or, handling being a mom or dad. That's stressful. That's cortisol. That's adrenaline. That's my body being under stress a lot. Certain foods I put in my body, or the air, the water, the things I enter my body, if they're not good for my body, they create a stress in my body. Emotional stress, bad relationships, all those things contribute to what we will call chronic stress. Maybe not the level of stress if a bomb went off or a grizzly bear came running into the room, but certainly enough stress to where my body, rather than using energy to regenerate, like you're saying, tissue and allowing your cells to be healthy and allowing your body to work, it's basically using that energy to deal with the stress, which almost forgets the body. The body starts to deteriorate, degenerate, cortisol goes up. That causes my body to be in chronic stress. Immune system gets weaker. My heart system is going to get weaker. My digestive system is going to get weaker. So all those things get bad. What we know through science, it's amazing. And there's a lot of different things that can do this, is that if I can increase my state of, if you will, calmness, if I can change my vagal nerve tone, that means that I could bring my body automatically in a more relaxed state, bring it out of a state of physiologic stress. And what we know is if the spine, and we know this through the Jang study, there's quite a few other neurologic studies, that when the spine gets stuck or crooked, it would put your body into stress. Now, the spine could get stuck or crooked from physical things that we do, emotional trauma, chemical things they put in my body. But as a result, when going to a chiropractor, that doctor is going to identify where it's stuck or crooked. And by relieving or alleviating that area of the spine that's not working well, the beauty is it lowers the sympathetic response. It brings you out of a state of stress. Therefore, the body can start to regenerate at a higher level. So we know what's amazing. There was a study done on telomeres, which are like the caps of your chromosomes. And what they show is that while you're under chiropractic care, your telomeres lengthen, which is a measurement of anti-aging. It's a measurement of your body's ability to not only stop aging, but actually be younger than your chronologic age. And we're seeing people under, and it's not the only thing that'll do that, obviously, but being under chiropractic care slows the aging process. It allows your body to work better. There's another study on thiol levels, which affects the regeneration of RNA and DNA, your genetic data. That has been shown to be dramatically improved while under chiropractic care. So while you're getting chiropractic care, your body slows its aging, gets out of a state of physiologic stress or lowers it, allows your body to regenerate and be healthier.
Well, Dr. Joe, you have touched on some very, very interesting subjects. I mean, on embryology, 26 days after the embryo is formed, the first cells that are being formed are the brain cells and sacral plexus.
Yes.
So that shows how important our nervous system is to total vitality and our well-being.
Yes. Yes.
And unfortunately, we have been, through time, we have been taught that if it's not hurting, don't touch it or don't treat it.
Yes.
So could you please talk about the symptom cares and why shouldn't we be more, we shouldn't care about symptoms rather than being more about vitality, wellness, and our own well-being?
Yes. The sad part is in the early 1900s, and I'll say much of it was driven by the United States, we lost what we call mechanical biology. We got very interested in chemical biology. So we started to realize that, hey, by altering certain chemicals and putting them in our body, we can make changes, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? So we can make chemical changes, but what we lost is that your body's still a mechanical machine. It has a mechanism to it. So you can affect the biology and the vitality of the body through addressing the body's mechanics. In fact, there's a great study. It came out of the Annals of Medicine, I believe it was 2003, where they showed that if you change improve upon the mechanical aspect of the body through chiropractic care, you actually change genetic expression. So the cell's matrix, its extracellular membrane, intracellular membrane, structure, skeleton, all of those things are dramatically improved if the body's in better position alignment. Here's what we forget. If I take a car apart and I put it back together correctly, it'll start. But if I take you apart and I put you back together correctly, like, you're not going to start. So we're something much more than the parts. And what these beautiful, intelligent, passionate chiropractors and osteopaths and homeopaths and people that are really understanding the vitality of the body, that vitalistic, there's an energy, and I don't pretend to know exactly what it is. There's a force, an intelligence, all three of those, called the triune of life. That energy that's in our body is destined to send a message and a signal, and it breathes in life to our body. That's what makes us alive. So, Doc, like, it's one of those simple things that we don't even think about, but like the mere act, not to sound crazy here, I can think a thought right now and move my hand like that. Like, that's unbelievable. It's incredible. It's unimaginable. And yet, at the same time I'm doing this, my nervous system is sending messages to my lungs, to my kidney. It's taking what I ate for lunch. It's turning it into living flesh, and it's making me alive. It's making me awake. It's creating thought. It's creating creativity, imagination, happiness. All of those things are happening through my nervous system. So if we know that by addressing the health of the nervous system, the body gets healthier. If we wait till we hurt, remember, pain is the last stage of a problem. So by the time we hurt, that's like waiting till you have, I got a little toothbrush here that I always bring when I talk. So, it's waiting till you hurt before you use a toothbrush. Like, if I said to you, did you use this morning? Majority of people say yes, not because their teeth hurt, but because you're tending after them so they don't hurt. Like, if you got up in the morning and said, hey, my teeth feel pretty good today, I'm not going to brush, and you waited till they hurt before you started to brush, the problem with that is you're going to get sick and diseased by the time you hurt. Unfortunately, that's where most people are. And because we got into a chemical biology where we could take a few things to take away the pain, we're forgetting that pain is God's way, or the nervous system's way, or whatever your belief system is your body's way to say, hey, hold on, time out for a minute. Something's wrong. It's not time to take Advil. It's time for you to pay attention to me because something's wrong in there that needs to be corrected or addressed. And if we think of the body that way, we're much less likely to get sick and diseased. We're much more likely to live a long and very healthy life, as we were intended to do.
Well, on many aspects, I always tell my patients, it's not that chiropractors, we treat the condition. We bring environments that your nervous system and your innate within you just corrects the condition by itself.
Yes. Yeah, your body tends to wellness. Like, if you saw a sick plant, if you saw a plant in the room that was sick, like, you wouldn't put Advil in it and Lipitor. You'd go, hey, it needs water, sun, nutrients, right? So when we get sick, why don't we think the same way? When we get sick, we're meant to be beautiful, like a beautiful flower, like a beautiful plant. We need to stop for a minute and go, wait a minute. Why am I sick? What's causing me to be sick? It's not from a deficiency in Advil or Lipitor. I'm not saying they never have a place. My point is, if I look at my body and go, I'm meant to be healthy and beautiful and be filled with energy and health, and I'm not living that way, that means I need water, sun, nutrients. I got to start looking at myself as a living system like the plant. What can I do to my body to care for it better so that it performs better in its environment?
Now, Let's touch bases on stress and mental stress.
Yes.
What kind of effects does that have on our overall well-being?
Well, there's quite a few studies. One, it shows that if you're under chronic stress, the gray matter, the cognitive part of our brain, actually diminishes. So we get diminished glial cells, we get diminished neurons in our brain if we're under chronic stress or chronic pain. So that's one thing that's a big concern. Stress in and of itself, same idea with Bruce Lipton. I lose my ability to be imaginative. You know, if you're under, using an extreme example, a grizzly bear's running after you, and I say, hey, listen, what do you want to do today? Like, you can't think of that. You're like, holy cow, I got a grizzly bear running after me. So our ability to have a personality that's filled with optimism and happiness is lost, because when we're under chronic stress, our levels of chemicals in our brain, not only our cortisol, but catecholamines that are being released in my body, and adrenaline, norepinephrine's getting released in my body. It shuts down my cognitive, what's called the mature human brain. It starts to fire off my limbic and amygdaloid, my primitive brain, my primate brain, if you will, even smaller than that, my lizard brain, if you will. And all of a sudden, I lose my ability of being happy. I lose my ability of enjoying life. I become depressed. I become anxious. And what we know is that certainly by how we eat and how we breathe and how we move and keeping the spine and nervous system healthy, we can reverse and in most cases eliminate that amount of stress in the body to bring back life, vitality, creativity, diminish anxiety, depression by tending after the nervous system with chiropractic care.
Dr. Joe, talking to you brings up so many different topics but I'm
Sure.
going to stick to the task. And I know you were involved with International Chiropractic Pediatric Association for a while.
Sure.
Can you speak some about what chiropractic care does for pediatrics, for children in general, and how it should be a part of their integral part of them growing up?
Yes. Well, I think one of the challenges we have is that we've kind of, you don't really have, even though I guess it would be based on how they work with children, you don't really have pediatric dentists and like adult dentists and then geriatric dentists, though. I know there's some description of that, but my analogy is that you have teeth that need to be tended after. You have a spine that needs to be tended after. So it doesn't matter whether you're an infant or whether you're 40 or you're 80, your spine, our bones are made of bones that need to be tended after because they house and protect the delicate nervous system, fibers of the nervous system. So that's number one. So if we know that, then we would want to say, wow, when would the spine be under its greatest degree of stress, or at least its initial stage of stress? And now we're realizing with all this research and all the science that there's an enormous amount of stress that's placed primarily on the upper cervical, upper area of the neck of an infant during not only development, how they're positioned in mom's uterus as they're developing, but primarily in the birth process. So whether they're coming through a vaginal non-traumatic, which is very traumatic on the spine, or whether they're non-progressive C-section and they need to be extracted out of the abdomen, there's an enormous amount of trauma to the cervical spine. And what we know through that is that not only is the nervous system affected, the child immediately goes into a heightened or higher state of stress. So their sympathetics become higher. And what's amazing when you start to put the dots together, you're going to say, wow, they're in stress. Stress means immune system diminishes, gastro diminishes. So yeah, more prone to immune problems, maybe upper respiratory, maybe ear infections, maybe sinus problems. I'm going to run into colicky issues. I'm going to run into digestive problems as an infant because my nervous system is in sympathetic stress and therefore leads to these problems. So one of the best places to bring that child, and I'd say it's a necessity and a requirement right after birth, is to get that upper part of the neck checked for misalignment and immediately get it reduced so that child can diminish their rate of sympathetic stress and allow their body to start working better like it was intended to. So,
Dr. Joe, the issue with children, unfortunately, has gone unnoticed. Especially, I treat a lot of kids in my practice, and well, I help a lot of kids in my practice, and I have
Sure.
noticed that the ones who attend, they thrive much better. They're
Yes.
happier in general. You know, they're much more uh, uh, easier to deal with. Their daily behavior has changed quite a bit, and they're generally very balanced kids.
Yes.
Now, in your 28 years of practice, you just aged yourself, by the way.
Yes, I know. I
In
can't believe that number.
I've been in practice for 20 years, so I salute you, sir.
There you go.
For 28 years, what are the trends you have seen change over the past 20 years, if there has been any?
Yeah, I have seen. I see more people under chiropractic care than ever. I have to say, I see. It's not uncommon where years ago, 30 years ago, it was. Chiropractic care was almost like an alternative. I never call it an alternative. It's not a replacement for anything. Like, there's no alternative to dentistry. No one say, I'm going to try a dentist. Like, you need a dentist, right? So you need a chiropractor. I'm starting to see that happen. I'm starting to see people go, yeah, I go to a chiropractor. I go regularly. I'm starting to tend after my body. So I would say that's one of the biggest things. I do also find that I find a lot more either curiosity or some respect that wasn't there before from a medical profession. Even though there's still some battles going on, I do find many more people within the, let's call it healthcare profession. We're all on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the same team as the cardiologist or the pulmonologist or the orthopedic surgeon. I'm trying to get that person to thrive and live a healthier life. I'm not going to use drugs and surgery, but that doesn't mean they don't have a place. My job is to get that nervous system healthy. So if they do need surgery, man, they're going to be a lot better off. And if you can avoid it, man, they're going to be a lot better off, right? It's not complicated. So I do see much more. I see a lot more nurses. I see a lot more medical doctors in my office. I see a lot more people going, yeah, this is kind of normal. This is kind of regular, rather than, oh, it's an alternative or it's very unknown. That's a great place to be. We got a long way to go yet. But boy, I'll tell you, that is a really nice thing to start seeing in our country. So
Fantastic. And
yeah.
like yourself, I have a lot of practice members who are from medical field, orthopedic surgeons, neurologists,
Yes.
cardiologists, and they are very accepting of what we do and how we go about doing it.
Yes.
And they know that this profession has its own value. You can't
Yes.
go to a dentist and hope it does the job of your cardiologist. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Perfect.
So every one of us, we have our own value, and we add value to one's well-being. Now,
Yes.
for obviously, for as long as you have been in practice, what has been your challenge in the past 28 years?
The challenge is the education of the public. In other words, the majority of people that walk in, still, it's a smaller number than it was 30 years ago, but you still have a lot of people who don't know what exactly a chiropractor does, or they don't relate it to the overall health, vitality, thriving of the human body. Again, they're relating it, hey, I'll go to a chiropractor because my back hurts, or I've got arthritis or a bulging disc, again, that's not a bad thing. I mean, it does open the door to that type of care. Where the challenge is that, look, at this is something you wouldn't look at a parent uncomfortable and say, why are you brushing your kid's teeth? He's only 2. Like, that would never be odd. But it's still strange for people to think, why would you bring a child to a chiropractor at 2 or 1 or an hour after birth? And it's really, that is the biggest challenge, to get people to understand that you see your x-ray right now, that's a train wreck. But you didn't wake up that way. That happened over 40 years. So when's a better time to start? Now or when you were a baby so you never looked like that? So So I think in reality, the challenge is to get the public, and it's still going to be our challenge for another generation or two, but to get the public to understand the essence and importance and significance and necessity and requirement to get those babies and children checked so that they never end up looking as bad. But even more importantly, and I love the word you're using, Doc, getting them to thrive and be happy and healthy at such an early age. Heidi Havoc did a great study. She did one adjustment on the neck and showed an increase of 20% of cognitive function. So if you start thinking just how a child's brain works, imagination, creativity, Einstein said the greatest gift isn't intelligence, it's imagination. So we're seeing studies now showing, hey, imagination and creativity increases while their brain's healthier. Brain gets healthier through keeping their spine healthy, keeping them under chiropractic care. So we're starting to see, wow, it has an enormous effect on the personality, the health, the mindset, the overall physiology of these babies, which is going to turn into a healthier 40-year-old or a healthier 50-year-old or beyond, right? So.
And just a side note that Heidi will be in Canada, I think end of November, beginning of December. Yeah. So she's a very valuable researcher of ours, and she has done amazing. Now, if I took you back 28 years, you just graduated from school, what's the best advice would you give yourself?
I don't say this to be promoting, but I also do a coaching program. I mentor chiropractors. So I hired a mentor about 3 years after I opened my office. And the best advice I'd give myself is to hire a mentor, consultant, coach, whatever you want to call it, immediately. I would have done it while I was in school. You come out of school with this phenomenal excitement, this passion, like, oh my God, I'm going to change the world. I can't wait. And you hang a shingle and you're thinking, wow, everyone's going to come in, and it doesn't work that way. And how do you lay out your office, and how do you hire people, and how do you communicate, and all of those things times 1,000, like, you don't know, and you kind of figure it out on your own. And there's so many people that already have it figured out. And I could have helped so many more people. I could have been so much more impactful. It reminds me of the story of Schindler's List. At the end, when Schindler was crying, and one of the Jewish men said, "What's the problem?" He goes, "Oh my God, I could have done so much more. I could have done so much more if I knew or gave more." And that's kind of what I feel like. Wow, if I knew what I knew then, I could have helped so many more people. I could have been so much more impactful even now, 3 or 4 years ahead of where I'm at, that I could have had a bigger impact on humanity by teaching them more about what we do as chiropractors and why it's so important for them to be under care.
Perfect. Dr. Joe, please let our viewers know, where can they find you? How can they get a hold of you? The website, your Instagram, your Facebook. Give us all the addresses, please.
Sure. No, I appreciate that. I'm the easiest guy in the world to get a hold of. So my name is Joe, Joe, Borio, Borio, and I'm right on Facebook. So if you hit Joe Borio, that's great. My office is Borio, there's a shocker, Chiropractic, and I got a webpage for that. So my webpage is the same as my Twitter. I have a YouTube channel, Borio Chiropractic. I do videos usually, and on my Facebook page, probably once a week. I talk about different health problems, different health conditions. I show x-rays, try to teach people what it is we do and why we do it. So I'm the easiest guy in the world to get hold of. So reach out if you're a chiropractor looking for some care or some mentoring, whatever. You can find me right on my Facebook page as well. Real easy.
Dr. Joe, I'm grateful for your time. Thank you for joining us. I certainly am appreciative of all you do for this profession and for our chiropractors. And thank you for the information that you had for our viewers.
Not only, and not to take up too much time here, not only am I honored to be on your program, I'm going to tell you right now that, I'm a man of faith. And I truly believe that when mankind got into that kind of industrialized age where life went faster, we sat in cubicles, that's kind of when, the universe, God, what have you, said, hey, listen, I need to create and get some chiropractors out there to start taking care of these humans that aren't taking really good care of themselves. And I also look at the people that are chiropractors now, like Dee Dee needed, and BJ and Mabel, they needed a certain set of resolution and conviction in order to get through the times they did. And I look at that fire in the chiropractor's eyes today. We need a different level in order to propel this profession, because we really are the stewards of taking care of the human body in a natural way to allow it, and again, using your words, to thrive, to allow our body not to just get through the day, but to feel better, live longer, have better years in our years, have a relationship with our great-grandkids, not know our great-grandkids, have a relationship, play with them, have fun with them. That's what chiropractic care brings, and that's the message that this generation of chiropractors needs to bring to the world immediately. So,
Thank you, sir.
thank you, Doc.
Thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you some